All right, Nick, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. Probably one of my favorite teams coming out of last season as far as a young team that was really impressive. This is a team that can build on this performance. And I think GM Gutekunst has an absolutely phenomenal idea of how he's going to attack the draft and how he's going to try to get a lot of different shots of players to work on this roster. Let's get into the article and we can talk about it more on the other side. This is from over on zonecoverage.com. It says Brian Gutekunst didn't tip his hand too much when he spoke to the media on Monday morning. Gutekunst said one of the many lessons he learned from the late great Ted Thompson was subterfuge. Therefore, we'll have to wait until Thursday to see what crafty GM plans. But Gutekunst's comments did reveal a few dominant themes in some of his process. He made clear that he plans to use all 11 of Green Bay Packers draft selections, the most in the draft currently, and if possible, snag a few more. Gutekunst is looking to add volume and competition across the roster, which could be a great way to bolster this young team. Nick, I think this is an excellent idea from the Packers GM. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, but Packers fans, in the comment section below, we're talking about, an widespread draft strategy. Probably going to be a lot of late round picks in there. There's already been some great gems on this Packers roster. So let us know in the comment section below. Who are your favorite late round gems? Your all-time, draft steals per se for the Packers. Let us know in the comment section below. Who are your Packers draft steals, your favorite of all time, in the comments below. But Nick, what are your thoughts on this new or latest strategy by the GM of the Packers?
Yeah, so I think it's a great move, first of all. But I think the thing that really strikes me as strange is that we've heard this entire offseason from both the college ranks, from the NFL scouting ranks, from NFL executives and general managers that this draft and probably future drafts as well, because of the NIL rules of college football and the change and transfer portal and people staying longer in college because they can make money. They're not necessarily leaping to the National Football League to collect a paycheck as early as they did in years past. What that means is that the draft after picks about 150, 160 or so really drops off the map, but it's really deep, really experienced, really talented throughout those first 150, 160 picks, right? That's a lot of what agents have been saying, the exact same thing. Everybody across the board is saying this. But there's only one team that's actually enacting that strategy of accumulating picks in that top 150, right? And the other element, too, of course, is that a lot of people consider the top 20 of this draft to be great, but from 21 to 150 to be roughly the same talent level, right? So after the first 20 picks, it's a deep but not super there's not basically after pick 20 there's not a lot of superstars left. It's a lot of really good players. A lot of guys with first round grades will go in the second round. A lot of guys with second round grades will go in the third round, and so on, all the way up to about pick 150 or so. That's what everyone has said universally across the board. But despite that, the Packers, like I said, are the only team actually acting on that strategy. They have a million picks in the early rounds. You get 25, 41, 58, 88, 91, buck 26, buck 69, then 202, 219, 245, 255 to just kind of round it out. They have, outside of the Arizona Cardinals, who had that massive trade with the Texans last offseason before the draft, or during the draft, excuse me, there's no other team that's following the strategy that literally everyone is saying that should be followed, which is get picks in the top 150. However many you can, go out and do it. But Gutekunst is the only guy actually doing it. And this reminds me of the Jimmy Johnson quote, right? The great Cowboys and then later Miami Dolphins head coach, when he said, success in the NFL is all about letting everyone else just screwing it up. And right now, I think the 31 other NFL franchises, to a certain extent, are screwing it up, right? Instead of these other teams trying to think about accumulating draft picks, building more draft capital, focusing on getting another shot in the arm in the second and third rounds and the fourth round a little bit too, in a very deep draft, they're just focusing on picking, well, we want the best player available, or maybe we want to trade up. The Packers instead are like, let's get more picks here in this deep draft. Let's take advantage of this opportunity. And that's just one of the themes I've noticed with the Packers this offseason. And Gutekunst, with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, he took a lot of heat. And look, I was critical with him during that time as well. The reality is I was wrong. He's a really smart guy. He's proven it time and time again. And this is just another example of how the Packers are outsmarting their entire competition. Yet again, it sounds so simple, but for some reason, the Green Bay Packers are the only team that's actually figured it out.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head as far as saying, there's superstars in the top, 1 through 20. I think there's going to be a lot of great players in there. but you start falling out of the top 20 players of this draft. And that is where, like you said, the talent level is the same. So the Packers sitting at 25, I'm feeling that his strategy may be like, hey, he says he has 11. He might want 13, 14 draft picks if possible. Let's trade back. Let's get a second and a third for 25. Let's get 2 seconds for 25. Let's move back in the draft and take even more shots at relatively the same talent level of players at this point. What's the difference in an early second and, a number 25 pick? Not too much. I think you can get relatively the same value. So I love this strategy by the Packers. I think it's something that they are, equipped for because they're so good at getting guys in the later rounds and being successful. I mean, this is a Packers team. They've gotten a lot of guys in the late rounds. Zach Tom has been, Carl Brooks, Dontavian Wick, Rasheed Walker, Carrington Valentine, and Anthony Johnson Jr. are just guys who've played a significant role on this team that they've gotten in the later rounds as well. And, you can't, we say second round, Jaden Reed, guy in the second round as well. There's just so many players the Packers have hit on in the last couple of drafts. So it's like you said, they've been analyzing and enacting this strategy. I feel like he's going to do a little bit more as far as get a couple more shots at that round by trading back a little more even. And I think this is going to be huge for the Packers. I'm curious to dissect all of these moves as we move through the season and just see how many good players they were able to grab from this draft.
Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you. Your full name, email, home address, health records, even your relatives. It's all out there. That's why we use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our information and automatically submits opt-out requests for us.
Cleaning up our information not only reduces the amount of that stupid spam we all get, but it also protects us from hackers who could use this information to help them access our social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also does much more to protect us and our families from online threats. We also get features like antivirus protection, VPNs, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. That's really key. One location, get all this great stuff. It's really easy to set up. And the best of all, we get everything at one affordable price.
And you may already have one or two of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. Aura is always on doing the hard work to keep you safe so you can focus on other tasks and have peace of mind. We value our privacy and we value yours. You can go to aura.com/Saturday to start your 2-week free trial. Also, link below in the description. Again, aura.com/Saturday for your free 2-week trial.